everyone, this is Bella and welcome to my channel. Today, I'm finally making the highly requested video on how I stay organized. I do most of my organizing digitally using Notion, which might have caught me used several times across my videos. So I decided to do a deeper dive in and show you the setup that I use on a day-to-day basis in this video. I started using Notion in the fall of 2021 or when I first entered college, and it has ever since been my favorite app. This video is sponsored by Notion, which is crazy and super exciting as this is my dream collaboration. For those of you who aren't familiar with Notion, Notion is a digital workspace where you can journal, take notes, budget, and do almost everything else you need to do to organize your work and personal life. I think a great way to put it is a combination of Google Docs, spreadsheet, calendar, and bullet journal, and is basically a virtual space where I can keep everything in one place. It's not an exaggeration that I have all of my life planned on Notion right now, and I think it's a singular productivity tool for reasons that I'll go into in a bit. I've tried a lot of tools and strategies to get my life together in the past, including paper diaries, Google Doc, GoodNotes, Notability, or not even organizing at all, and found my current platform to work the best for me. I'm going to put the link to get Notion and my template in the description box, both of which are free, so feel free to check that out after the video if you're interested. Without further ado, I'm so excited to take you around my Notion setup. So this is the first page I see when I open Notion. I have a directory of all my pages on the left, including home, gallery, reading list, and then a page dedicated to YouTube. Starting with the home page, I have it divided up into 4 main sections: big picture, course overview, weekly to-do list, and then miscellaneous. Something I really like about Notion is that it's super customizable, including how it looks. So at the top, I have my cover photo set to a painting by Sra, which I got from Notion's own selection. You can also upload your own image or insert an image link. Since I spend a lot of time on this page, I wanted to make it pleasant and soothing to look at so that I would enjoy my time on it and actually want to come back to it later. If you click on the 3 dots on the top right corner, it gives you a bunch of style options. I currently have my font set on serif, but you can kind of change it around anytime you'd like. I also like to make the page span the full width of my screen so that I can optimize space. On the top, I have my navigation bar with the links to all my pages: college, calendar, budget, journal, context, and brain dump, which I'll take you through later. I can easily access each of these pages by simply clicking on the link, like so. To the right of that, I have a weather widget, which has been really useful because I always forget to check the weather on my phone. So I got this widget from an external website called Indify. I believe another popular one is called Option. Let me actually show you a quick example. First, you have to go to a website like Indify. And then let's just do a simple countdown. What you can do is set the date and time, also customize the font or color, and it gives you a link at the end. So click that link to copy it, and then you can simply paste it on the page, and then create embed. The calendar you see on the right is also a widget I added in the same way. I use the embed function a lot to put in images, videos, and websites, and I think it's a great feature that lets you customize the pages with a lot of flexibility. I like to put my long-term or broader goals at the top so that I'm kind of forced to see them whenever I open Notion. Some of my goals right now are reading more Spanish, going through vocabulary, and most importantly, drinking water. The next section is a course overview where I plan for all of my classes I'm taking right now. I like to put in 4 to-dos at a time so that I can stay on top of both current and future assignments. As you'll see, I use checkboxes everywhere because I think it's so satisfying to check off each to-do, and it also helps me visually see the progress I'm making. Once again, these progress bars on the left are a widget that I created using the same method as before. They help me see how much of the year, week, and day I've lived, which makes me realize that time flies by so fast and ultimately motivates me to spend time better. Next, I have a series of daily to-do lists that I update and check off each day. So I usually like to make a list the day before or even a week before when I'm feeling really crunched. So these are created using the same checkbox feature that I showed you before. Oh, a really useful shortcut that I just found out about like yesterday is that you can create a template button. This has saved so much time for me, and how you can create it is by clicking on the plus button here, scroll down all the way until you see template button, and then you can make a title for your new to-do. Every time you click on that plus box now, you should get another checkbox, which is really useful. The last section is miscellaneous. On there, I have a really cute Ghibli picture and a countdown to spring break, and this is another widget that I added using, I think, Indify or Aption. In the middle, I have some upcoming events such as midterm, essays, concerts, and so on, so that I can kind of look forward to those events. Okay, so that was the end of the homepage, and I want to take you around my college page now, and this is where I keep all my courses organized. I have this page organized by semester, so on the top I have Spring 22, which we're in right now, and then next to that I have an archive of last semester. At the bottom, I have a list of programs and internships that I'd like to apply to. So now let's look into one of the class modules. Last semester, I took an introductory psychology course, so let's look at that now. Once again, I've changed my cover photo to one of Notion's selections. In the middle, we have our course materials. On the left were all the readings I had to do for this course, and on the right, I have 2 columns for each of the exams and what topics I had to study for those. And this is just a box including the instructor name, office hours, and a link to the syllabus. And at the bottom, this is probably the most useful part of this page, which is a lecture schedule. This table is basically all we're learning this entire year, and I have it organized by week. During week 5, for example, we learned about sensation and perception, and chapter 4 was a required reading, so I have a column dedicated to all the book readings. And for some of the topics, I have a Quizlet linked so that I can access them really quickly. Another cool thing about this table is that on the left, I have a checklist, and I created this around, I believe, the second midterm. And each time I review or master a concept, I can just click on the checkbox so that I can keep track of what to study. I usually like to have one empty course template so that I can duplicate it anytime and add another class. So this is one of the basic templates that I made. Oh, I forgot to show you this last time, but I have this grade calculator. So you can put down your assignment, your grade for it, how much it weighs, and your entire grade, and then use the table feature, which works really similar to Excel and Google Spreadsheet, so you can kind of sum up everything and see your final grade. At the school, we use Canvas, and sometimes the grade projection scale is not as accurate, so I like to have a separate grade calculator, for example on Notion. To make my page more aesthetic, I added a fishbowl icon at the top, which I got from Pinterest, and embedded the link. You can change this icon by clicking on it, and then you can change it to any of the emojis. You can upload your own image or insert a link. The next page I want to take you around is the calendar. I use this calendar to track more of the milestone events such as housing day, spring break, final exam, and so on. I can look at this in table format, or I can add a view, just calendar, and then I can see it in a more traditional calendar format. What I do to add an event is just click on a plus on one of the dates. So let's just add Valentine's Day. And then you can select the term, spring 2022, and then tags. It should pop up right there. For more detailed and daily planning, I do like to use Google Calendar, but I like to keep a separate academic calendar here so that I can see everything that's coming up in school in a single view. Also, I decorated this page with a woman icon and pink sky cover photo. I personally think transparent PNGs look really good as icons because they look just like stickers. As before, I usually find these on Google and Pinterest. Next up, I have my budget page where I keep track of all the money coming in and out. I just recently started budgeting, and ever since, I've been realizing how mindlessly I was managing my finances. Having a page as simple as this one can really help you see what goes in and out of your pocket and helps you be more aware of and gain control over your spending habits. I have this really cute shopping cart emoji at the top, and I got this cover photo, I think, from Google search. Right below the icon, I have my shopping list where I record what I want to buy or have bought. Beneath that is a list of all the gift ideas I have for my friends and family. Whenever I'm brainstorming what to get for birthdays, I like to take inspiration from this list. So I have things that are super cute and fun to get, like lamp, skincare, and stationery, which I just noticed I misspelled actually. Next section is dedicated to more long-term planning. On the left, I have a table set up by year and seasons so that I can get a quick, broad overview. On the right, I listed my finance goals, which as of now are paying for my education and saving as much as possible on the way. The very last section is where I most frequently update and look at. It's an in-depth spreadsheet of my spendings, and I really find it useful. Every time I spend money, I write down what, where, and when I spent it, as well as categorize it. I can create subpages for each item in the list so I can include more details about how I spent that money. For instance, on this day, I got paintbrushes and beads from Michaels, so I have that all recorded and categorized here. Later, I can also filter different tags to isolate sections I want to look at. Right now, I have my filter set on spent, winter, and 2021. Let's go to my journal page now. Here, I sent my cover photo to a scene from a Ghibli movie which I got from their archive. I always wanted to make a really aesthetic journal and did try a few times on paper diaries, but it usually only lasted for like a week or two. Mostly, I think it was because it was so easy to forget. But now that I have my diary on Notion, it's easier to access and customize for me. I'm still working on my consistency, but I do find this way more convenient than before. Here, I have that same widget from before that I got from Indify, and on the right, I made a sudden ideas page where I jot down some random ideas that come to me. On the left is the actual entry portion that I organized by year and month. Let's try going into February, and as you can see, I haven't been keeping up with it too much, but you get an idea. I use the template button feature I showed you before to pre-program my pages so that when I click on the plus button, I get a fresh page each time. Another super cool thing is that you can add an emoji for each day, so here I summarize my mood of the day by using face emojis. The next two pages I want to show you are pretty simple. They're called Context and Brain Dump, and they're exactly what they sound like. On the context page, I write down the names and contact info of people I want to keep in touch with, and on the Brain Dump page, I jot down unfinished thoughts to revisit later. Finally, we are off to my favorite page on Notion. It's called Gallery, and it's essentially a treasure box of art, movie scenes, websites, music, and other media that bring me joy. It's just a pleasure to go to this page once in a while and look at things that make me happy. I use the embed function to create this collage, which allows you to enter images, websites, and even playlists. I inserted a link to the Poetry Foundation's Poem of the Day, which updates every day, book covers, Spotify playlists, celebrities alike, and just a lot of Ghibli scenes. I recently started using Goodreads as my main way of recording what I read, but I'll still show you what I have here. I have a collage of different titles at the top, and I have a reading wish list that I compiled from recommendations. I also have my K-drama playlist and vocab list linked here. For vocab, I simply make lists on Google Docs. I use this page called Video Ideas to plan my YouTube content. These are some ideas I have so far, and hopefully I can bring these videos to you soon. At the bottom is just my description box info. Using Notion can be kind of scary at first, because when you first get it, it just gives you a blank page like this that you might not know what to do with. This is where I think templates are super useful. You can click on templates to browse your templates that Notion provides. If you're a student, you might find templates like grade calculator, syllabus, and lesson plans helpful. But really, the possibilities are vast, and you can just about find templates for anything here. After you find one that you like, you can use the template by clicking on the button at the top, which will import the template right onto your page. If you don't see any templates you like here, you can also go to social media and find ones that people have posted. Speaking of which, I'm also going to link my template in the description box, so feel free to make a copy and use it. This marks the end of my Notion tour and how I stay organized. Thank you all so much for tuning into this video, and another shout out to Notion for sponsoring this video.